Good morning, everybody. I'm Bryce.
I'm Brendan.
And Nidhi. Choice is the most common word associated with pregnancy. No, it is not a choice. It is a completely wrong way of perceiving it. Pregnancy is a right of a woman. We cannot take it so casually. Policies regarding maternity leave in the United States are out of date and lacking because they do not offer new mothers the benefits in which they so deserve. The United States is the only developed nation that does not offer at least partially paid maternity leave for new mothers. Each of us in the group have ties, one way or other, to the issue of out-of-date maternity leave policies. Potentially, in the future, everyone in the class might have to deal with this as an issue.
First, we're going to talk about the need to reform the current policies in the United States concerning maternity leave. Second, we will be focusing on how you can educate yourselves about maternity leave and how you can make a change yourself. And finally, we will inform you on some of the hardships women suffer because of the current policies in the United States. Before we start talking about how things can be changed, we need some background information on the current policy in the United States. The United States is in need for a reform on their policies concerning maternity leave. About 1/3 of new mothers in the United States work less than 3 months after giving birth, which is much shorter than other developed nations where only 5% of mothers go back to work around this time in countries such as Sweden, Germany, and the United Kingdom, according to the Economic Journal, Volume 15. America needs to update their policies regarding maternity leave because the United States is the only developed nation in the world that doesn't mandate paid maternity leave. Although there is one measure that the US has tried to make concerning maternity leave, which is the Family Medical Leave Act. But that only allows up to 12 weeks of maternity leave, which is also unpaid. Most mothers can't afford to go these 12 weeks without pay, so they eventually pressure themselves to go back into work early. And another point is that the Family Medical Leave Act only qualifies 45% of employees, which leaves the other 55% up to businesses to determine the length of their maternity leave. And that's also from the Economic Journal, Volume 15. Employers shouldn't have the final say in how long a mother gets to spend with her newborn child. The policies in the Family Medical Leave Act in the US need to be changed because we need to catch up with the other developed countries in the world. A lot of people don't realize how easy it is to make a difference and how much of an impact this can actually have on you. This issue affects a lot of you because you might have witnessed it firsthand, and hopefully eventually all of you will be parents yourself. And now Bryce is going to talk about how you can educate yourself and what you can do to make a change.
With it being an election year this year, I kind of wanted to relate that back to our topic for maternity leave. It's the same thing for any issues that we're facing in the world today. If you don't know anything about that issue, you cannot make a change. So the key is educating yourself by utilizing the resources you have available. I did a quick search online. I did a quick search online about maternity leave, and that gives you a really good start. Actually, one of the first topics or first websites I found was the techrepublic.com's website, which talked about the 10 top things you need to know about maternity leave in the United States. It's a very simple procedure to do, and now you have the information you need to make a decision. It brought up a lot of good points about the current policy, the Family Medical Leave Act of 1993. Speaking of an election year, one of the best ways to get policy reform or different things changed is to let your local, state, and elected officials know that it's a concern of yours. It may seem kind of intimidating to write an elected official, but it's a really, really simple process. altaread.org has a very easy to use and very simple sample of a letter to a senator. It explains the layout and the format of the letter and what you should include and what you shouldn't include in that letter. The more times these elected officials see issues like this come across their desk, the more likely they are to impact change. So the key thing is to educate yourself on the topic and come to your own conclusion whether you think it's an issue or not, and then do something about it, like writing a senator, writing a representative, writing a local official, and letting them know it's a concern. Make your voice heard so that change is possible. You now know how to make some changes, but Needy will tell you some reasons why you should make these changes by introducing some hardships that women face due to the lack of improper policies.
We often see a lot of pictures on the internet which depict working women as very happy and satisfied. The reality is completely different though. Women are the ones who are suffering the hardships of having a child. The number of cases registered in which women have to return to work as soon as 2 weeks after childbirth has significantly increased. The numbers are appalling. 23% of American women return back to workforce as soon as 2 weeks after their delivery. This is pretty disgusting. Due to this, children face problems with food and milk, which impacts their health in turn. First 6 months of pregnancy are extremely crucial for a child as well as for the mother. Without the mother's support, the child nourishment would be disproportionate. Also, the recent statistics show that women who return back to work also face a lot of anxiety and depression problems. This can lead to extreme consequences like suicide. We also need to take children into consideration. As we are aware, only 12% of the mothers have 12 weeks of paid maternity leave, and only then they can provide nourishment to their children. Rest 88% of the mothers have to leave their children and without confirmation about the fact that their children would be disease-free. This is also leading to a lot of women not preferring to have children. For a stable growth in America, the birth rate must be 2.1%, whereas the current birth rate in America is only 1.86%. The figures are disturbing. In this way, we are forcing women not to have children. Pregnancy is not only a big biological change, but also a huge psychological change. We need to take this in consideration and frame laws that support women to have children and not oppose them. Thank you.
Policies regarding maternity leave in the United States are out of date and lacking. They do not simply offer the benefits that new mothers so deserve. We walked you through a few of the basic backgrounds of the current policies we have in the United States, as well as some things you can do to change them, like educate yourself and write a senator. And we also talked about the hardships that women face due to the current policies we have in the United States. So it's time to be heard. Educate yourself. And don't just educate yourself and agree with us that it's something that needs to be done. Make sure you agree with it's something that should be done. Then simply write a letter to your senator or a local representative if that's what you think should happen. Remember, when you do nothing, you shouldn't expect anything to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.